For nauseating smell filling the air, inhabitants are calling on officials to come to their aid. Get full details in the following report. Musadie neighborhood in Douala 5 subdivision in Cameroon's economic capital is a septic, setting out sewage situation that worsens whenever it rains. Moving to other parts of the city, set to host the upcoming African Cup of Nations scheduled for January 2022, one will find garbage pouring on the floor with most bins overflowing, a scene that has become common. A Douala city dweller expresses his frustration.
At the approach of even as the African Cup of Nations. Yes, when you ask me what is it a good image, our country to be dirty everywhere at the approach of becoming a great event in the world, the answer is evident, not only evident but visible as I see. Our country is now dirty, but what is the cause? I know that Zakam is responsible of putting things in order, but now they are going on. I think they are going on step for me.
The situation of garbage piling up in streets and neighborhoods has been going on for over a week, following a strike action by garbage collectors demanding the payment of salary arrears. While some Douala city dwellers are hitting hard on government, others think waste management and disposal involves everyone. Pollution is not a good thing. We cannot say it is government because it is not government who deposits trash but us. It's not a good thing. Firstly, it's not a good image because people pass frequently and see how exposed it is. He, however, regrets that it's abandoned, waiting for special events before it is cleared out. With Can fast approaching, these positions would have been taken. A fowl is not fed at the market. They cannot wait till the event is here before keeping streets clean. They should keep the country clean now. To these other residents of Douala, government is to be blamed.
Our government must help people to live as they must do. It's something it is neglected by the I cannot accuse those persons who are collecting the debt. They are not responsible. They are also victims as us. But I put my hand on the government and the police, all the authorities that have concerned. They must do their own. The same thing the roads are spoiled everywhere.
With garbage bins overflowing for these and some roads narrowed as a result of poor waste disposal, the million-dollar question many are asking is for how long will Cameroonians crumble under the weight of refuge? In the Northwest region, Gilbert Sunday Mengong has been instituted as a senior divisional officer for byEwane Division. He was commissioned into office by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique as Dolingan Dathasos.
This is byEwane Division, one of the most affected segments of the 5-year ongoing armed conflict-stricken Northwest region of Cameroon. A division left with remnants of damaged property, sporadic gun battles between non-state and state armed groups, which have led to internal and external displacements. Gilbert Sunday Mengong has been commissioned by Northwest Governor Adolphe Lafrique to change the narratives. As a soldier ready for the battlefield, so too is the newly instituted SD of byEwane aware of his new area of jurisdiction.
We and Kumbu in particular, which is the chief town, was the educational hub of the region. We're one of the first in terms of health facilities.
While admitting the existing challenges the newly instituted SDO is due to face, Adolphe Lafrique doesn't fall short in spelling out his expectations of the latter.
Truly, the challenges are there, but the new SDO is up to the task. He has been here for long. He mastered the terrain. He mastered the situation.
Meantime, educational, economic, religious, and social activities are timid due to the ongoing crisis.
In the southwest region, the remains of Victor Nkelenga, pioneer government delegate to the Kumba City Council, has been laid in state at his Alaska Quarter residence in Kumba pending funeral ceremony Saturday, October 30, 2021. In the following report, Chris Toby on special assignment in Kumba profiles the lead Meme political figure.
From a humble beginning to the pinnacle of social and political power in Kumba, this son of Pa Benson Golobe and Ma Priscilla Elo was born on October 24, 1960. After obtaining the first school leaving certificate at Bethel Baptist Primary School, Kumba, young Victor Ngokele moved to CPC Bali and later to Cast Bambili, all in the Northwest region, where he got his GCEO and A levels on record time. Then picked up a job as young teacher at Frank Harcourt College, Kumba, before the hands of destiny carried him to Germany, where he graduated with a master's degree in cooperative economics. Despite lucrative jobs with German cooperative banks, Victor's dream was to come back home and work at the National Produce Marketing Board. The reality was quite different, as it instead took him to a Bafusam-based German NGO, SIPCRAME, and the Southwest Farmers Cooperative. Then came the presidential decree in 2009, appointing Victor Ngonkele, pioneer government delegate to the Kumba City Council. Kumba citizens and the world at large will live to remember Victor Ngonkele as the conciliator of people living on both sides of the famous Kumba Water, with the city council inter-quarter football competitions, and more especially as the one who instituted the Kumba City Council International Trade Fair. The German man, as he was fondly called, Victor Ngonkele, apart from the political rich legacy to the Meme 1A section of the CPDM party, leaves behind 2 children and a wife to mourn him. For MMP News, getting Kumba on special assignment, Johnson Vola, Chris Toby signing out.
Chris Toby reports we stay in the southwest region, where residents of West Coast now have undergone free thirst screening, sensitization and vaccination against COVID-19. This activity precedes a multi-sectoral seminar on COVID-19 sensitization and immunization organized by the Southwest Regional Assembly. Details with Clarice Ekowe.
One after another, these are residents of West Coast now found in Limbe Southwest region of Cameroon, trooping in to get tested for the COVID-19 virus, while others took their first dose of anti-COVID-19 vaccines.
There are about 35 persons have been vaccinated of the screening. There are about 85 persons have been screened. This seminar is a success because more people have been vaccinated as compared to previous campaigns that have been organized in this area.
This was during this multi-sectoral seminar on COVID-19 sensitization and immunization, organized by the Southwest Regional Assembly, and that brought together different stakeholders within the Limbe municipality.
My community tells them that keeping the environment clean first, they must keep the barrier measures and also see that they are vaccinated.
I've learned a lot that I will go and encourage my family, my friends, and even my community wherever I will go, because in reality, COVID-19 is real.
Representing the president of the Southwest Regional Executive Council, Chief Dr. Atem Ibako, who also doubled as the president of the Southwest House of Chiefs, in a speech appealed to the population not to give in to social media rumors which states that the virus is not real, but rather they should know their statuses as well as get vaccinated.
We have the opportunity to tell the populations of Idenau, West Coast, that this pandemic is a reality. The most recent variant, known as the Delta variant, is right here with us in the Southwest and right here in Idenau. So the one thing they should do is come for the test, go and get themselves vaccinated.
Present during this seminar, the DO for Idenau, just like the second deputy mayor of Idenau, both appreciated the Southwest Regional Assembly for re-intensifying the ongoing efforts in the fight against COVID-19. It should be noted that this COVID-19 sensitization and immunization campaign, organized by the Southwest Regional Assembly, is expected to take place in Kumba in the days ahead.
Now, some journalists drawn from media organs across the country have been trained on how to use the media for peace and justice in Cameroon. The 3-day training was aimed at arming journalists with appropriate skills in reporting in conflict areas. Get full details with Kuma Honore.
Journalists of English expression from media organs in the country have successfully gone through a 3-day training workshop on how to use the media for peace and justice in Cameroon. The training, sponsored by byEwane Now Cameroon and other international organizations with UNESCO at the forefront, was a mentorship session and was part of a series of workshops that the organizers have been carrying out in the past few months, aimed at equipping journalists with skills on conflict-sensitive reporting, especially within the context of the ongoing socio-political crisis in the northwest and southwest regions. During the workshop, participants revealed that reporting in Cameroon today comes with terrifying challenges. Journalists encounter threats, difficulties to fact-check and establish respectable information amid the crisis. Through this program, byEwane Now Cameroon and partners such as the Agency for Open Cultures and Critical Transformation, Association for Civic Watch, and the African Knowledge and Policy Center seeks to arm journalists with skills to have power to fashion the society, sharpen their audience beliefs, and influence positive behaviors around societies living amid conflict. This phase of the workshop was aimed at offering the journalists with in-depth knowledge and techniques on how to report during a conflict situation such as the one that has been raging the northwest and southwest regions. The organizers recognizes the fact that while journalists are bound to do a balanced and objective reporting during conflict situations, they equally have a primordial role to help in the diffusion of the conflict and help move different parties involved in the conflict to find lasting solutions or end the conflict. To effectively do this, the journalists were made to understand that one of the ways was to use their reporting to counter or check the propagation of hate speech or actions which often play a big role in prolonging conflicts. It was, however, noted that there was no hard and fast definition of what hate speech actually was, but it was agreed that hate speech were a combination of those expressions, words, and actions designed to hurt a certain individual, group of people, race, or sex in the society. The journalists were in agreement that the use of these hate-influencing words go a long way to build anger and disdain to the society. Thus, counter-expressions should be developed in their media outlets to silence such derogatory expressions. The journalists, after pursuing through a draft National Code of Conduct presented by Eugene Guafo, made some proposals for the document to be amended pending validation. Journalists believe through this way, Cameroon will eventually be rendered hate-free and a more harmonious environment created for all to live in peace and happiness and not in discord and war.
The 2021-2022 academic year has kick-started at byEwane Higher Institute of Health Sciences, Chico. Classes began effectively as Southwest correspondent Moki Regan tells us.
As the back-to-school bell for Higher Institute is ringing, the byEwane Higher Institute of Health Sciences, Chico, has effectively kick-started lesson in all its departments.
Assignment number 1. Draw the shape of all the bacteria. So who among us has the history? Should these particular babies who are born smaller because of different reasons, alright? It is important that you manage hypothermia.
The students, all dressed in their different uniform, attending lecture, says the 2021-2022 school year will be a good one as lecture has started effectively.
I've started school effectively. Teachers and lecturers are coming. The rate of discipline this year is very upgraded and strong. We have new teachers, new students. The practical level is well good. One where developed lab this year, added new equipments. The libraries were equipped, new stuff have been added.
Meanwhile, the Dean of Studies at the said institution called on the freshmen and women to be serious with their bookwork so as to become good medical professionals in the future.
They should be able to follow their courses, they should be able to attend all their lectures, and they should be present for all their practicals. And we are here to be able to achieve the skills. So attendance is number 1%, which must be attained, and they should be able to follow up all the lectures and make use of all the resources that are available on campus, teachers, the library, and the didactic materials that the school has provided.
The medical school, which is located at Launch Itiko, is still open for admission as 2021-2022 academic year is pregnant with a lot of activities, said the head of department for nursing.
It has started with a lot of enthusiasm and a lot of zeal. The entire school year is pregnant with a lot of activity and a lot of interesting things within the course of the school year. We have things like matriculation that will be coming up in the next month. We have aspects like graduation. We have things like medical talent events, which are social aspects. Likewise, we have academic aspects, which are going to mark the school year, like intensive practicals, internship for the students, which is going to make the school year very interesting.
It should be noted that the Mafle Kume Higher Institute of Health Sciences TICO is affiliated to the University of Buea.
And to news out of the country, at least 6 people, including 3 children, have died and 20 others seriously injured following an airstrike which hit Ethiopia Tigray region. These and more top African stories with byEwane Sama.
A new airstrike which hit Ethiopia's capital Tigray following several days of related strikes last week has killed at least 6 people, leaving 20 others wounded, and among the dead were 3 children. According to government officials, Thursday's airstrike targeted a site in Mekelle City used by rival Tigray forces to make and repair weapons. Tigray spokesperson denied that the airstrike hit a military target, adding that it struck a civilian residence. Photos from the scene appeared to show rescuers pulling bodies from debris. Note here that Ethiopian government has asserted that its latest airstrikes have been confined to military targets, but Tigray forces have maintained that civilian facilities, including factories and a clinic, have been targeted instead. Elsewhere in Kenya, the family of a Kenyan woman allegedly killed by a British soldier in 2012 is crying foul as they are yet to receive justice almost a decade after the death of Agnes Wanjiru. Wanjiru was a 21-year-old mother of a 5-month-old baby girl when she was reported missing in March 2012. Almost 3 months later, her body was retrieved from a hotel septic tank in central Kenya. According to eyewitnesses, she was lastly spotted in the company of British soldiers. 7 years after her death, an inquest by a Kenyan judge concluded that the young woman had been murdered by 1 or 2 British soldiers. Reports say the killer had confessed to a fellow soldier. However, when the soldier reported the confession, no action was taken by the army. And in Sudan, the army, in cooperation with the police, have reopened some bridges and streets in the Sudanese capital, Khartoum. Roads had been closed by barriers set up by protesters in the wake of the military coup on Monday. The reopening of the bridges and streets on Thursday was closely monitored by the armed forces, but some streets remain closed. For the record, Sudan's military seized power on Monday, dissolving the transitional government hours after troops arrested the prime minister. Responding to the situation, thousands of people flooded the streets to protest against the coup that threatened the country's unstable progress towards democracy.
byEwane Sama's tour across Africa concludes the 6:30 p.m. edition of News on My Media Prime Television. My name is Fon Quinter. Primer comes about 7 p.m. with Kum Leonard and his Text Global team. Have a great weekend in the company of more programs on the African Eye. We meet again next week, same station, same time.